Why hello there, and welcome to Stereo 3D Productions. Now you may be wondering why I'm wearing what I believe may be appropriate attire for the early 20th century, more specifically 1912, and that is because I'm about to board the Titanic, and I'd like to be able to sneak through as much of the ship as possible without looking like a complete pleb who belongs on the lower decks. Now that being said, I have to make a note. The demo I'm about to jump in is called Titanic, Honor and Glory. They're actually creating a full reenactment of the sinking of the Titanic that should, down the line, have virtual reality support. I featured their first demo on my channel in August of 2015. It's been that long. It had virtual reality support back then with the DK2 with mouse and keyboard. Now, Demo 2 released, and I was kind of disappointed because there was no VR to be found. However, 1 year ago, and I even missed it because of the discouragement experience with Demo 2 not having VR, Demo 3 was released with virtual reality support. This time, there's a lot more of the ship to explore, there's a little introductory scene, and also the thing works with room scale VR and motion controllers. So I'm going to make a few notes about that and compare from what I had originally seen, but I'm really excited to jump back into this. So let's go right in. I do declare, good sir, I'm about to board the Titanic, which I can see through the window. Okay, before I actually proceed to doing that, I do have to make a note that this demo supports both the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift natively. So even though this is a native Oculus Rift implementation, it's a bit Steam VR-ish. As you can see, they left an HTC Vive model, an HTC Vive controller model in-game. But that's no big deal. I actually tested it out because I wanted to be able to use my favorite room-scale VR kit with this, and it actually worked out great. So I know what to expect. But if you have an HTC Vive, this will work just as well. And probably if you have any headset that supports Steam VR, it's also going to be able to work to a good degree. So I welcome you people to try this out for yourselves. I'm going to be putting a link in the description to this free demo so you can check out Titanic, Honor and Glory for yourselves. I'm just going to take a look out the windows here. This is kind of like the menu screen if you want. But I'm going to go ahead and press the A button, which should actually get the next scene loading. Now they've added an intro, and you might think when this happens, the screen goes blank, that the demo has crashed, but don't worry, it's actually just loading a massive chunk of scenery. I was really impressed when this loads. You're going to see what I mean. They've done a lot of work since the first demo that I've tried out. So it actually starts off in a train, and I want to make sure that I don't
First the train
too
from
far
London
out of
to
my
Liverpool,
bounds, but
then a short trip to the docks where I boarded the ferry to Dublin, then the long train ride through Ireland to Belfast. Not a bad ride, but excruciatingly long. Check in at the guest house in the town proper, quick supper, quick sleep, quick breakfast, and a hop on the local train here to the Holland and Wolff shipyard.
you forgot your suit.
Fortunately,
You were supposed to dress.
I was worried about being tardy from being 3 hours early. My darling Claire always said to me, "Robin, you better get out of the house right now and go be useful for someone." She always did lovingly encourage me to show up for work early and give my best effort.
1912.
Titanic is
I remember
actually
it like it
different
was
from the
yesterday.
Olympic. They're structurally identical. The Olympic underwent these trials months ago, so this should be a simple repeat. I
Didn't
board,
the Olympics
observe her
sink?
during the sea trials, vote aye or nay on her certification, and then I ride her back to Southampton. Come on, Robin, you can't mess this one up, as Claire always told me.
Claire seems naggy, dude. Ooh. Why, hello. Alright, so I was just teleported out of that train automatically by a fadeaway, and then the scene loaded. I ended up out here. And I am going to start with the basics. These guys have done a lot of homework trying to make this work for room scale virtual reality. And I do have a couple of beefs to bring up. First off, they've disabled mouse and keyboard, and I don't like that. I would have loved to be able to sit down for this demo and just control with normal keyboard and mouse controls with my headset on. Kind of like I've been playing Hellblade on my live streams lately. Or kind of like the way I play, and I love doing it, Alien Isolation. I don't necessarily want to play that game with motion controllers. I'm really fine with mouse and keyboard. This would have been in the same category, even more so because it is such a casual nature right now. There's no action, there's no fast movement, there's no shooting. So, I mean, this would have been just as good seated. In fact, in my opinion, it would have been more calming and relaxing because of the nature of this content. Now, that being said, it's actually a fairly standard implementation of room scale, so it does work very well, and the visuals are absolutely stunning. I've never seen this shot before, except in my test, which I did a few minutes ago to make sure everything was going to work out. But the shot of the Titanic from the outside, I am feeling the size of this boat. I have this thing where I don't trust cruise boats. I've actually never been on one, and I don't desire to do so. And this is giving me that vibe right now. I don't feel like boarding this boat. If this boat were actually real and I didn't know I was wearing a VR headset right now, I would not want to step onto that fucking thing. So, let's go on about the controls. If I hold down my A button, if I'm not mistaken, in my right hand, it brings up the teleport curve. And then I let go, and I am teleported.
My way aboard. But I suppose there isn't reason for too much haste. No one else has even arrived yet, it seems. Plenty of time to explore.
Oh, that's the other thing. I don't know if it's going to be in the final story, but they've sort of put a premise that explains really well why you can't explore the entire boat. Where you arrive so early that there's no NPCs on the boat. There's actually nobody on there. I thought that was actually kind of comical. The voiceover is actually pretty competent. And the fact that it actually thought of sort of justifying the content limitations in the demo was a bit funny.
The weather broke, and now I've been given the opportunity to board the Titanic Advance of the Trials. This gives me a bit of time to really admire the beauty of the ship before I have to scrutinize every last aspect of her functionality.
That is a big boat. Now, here's another beef I have. If I move my thumbsticks right now or press them down, nothing happens. Look, I'm gonna cut them a lot of slack for this. This is a demo, and they're doing a lot of work on this thing right there. That thing is getting worked on like crazy. We're about to take a look at it, don't worry. But I do not have free locomotion, which is my favorite way of moving around in a room scale VR experience. In fact, this makes me not too comfortable. They call teleport a comfort mode, and in my opinion, I mean, at least for me, it is not comfortable at all. It actually is a lot less comfortable than free movement. I know it's different for every person, but there should always be options between free movement and teleport. So while I'm not going to go ahead and yell at these developers for not having done that, I do recommend that the sooner they can, the better. They should implement an option with free locomotion and with teleport locomotion for those who want that. Now for teleport, another thing they could do, and this might actually require a bit of work, is to do a dash teleport rather than a blink teleport, which for me it works out a lot better when I can keep seeing the world as I teleport. So I would hold this, let go, and zoom. It would feel like I go 200 miles an hour to that point, rather than the image fading out and back in. So let's actually go ahead and walk around. And of course, with free locomotion, it's just smooth as hell, right? You just point in one direction, walk around, look around. To me, that is the most comfortable way of doing it. But like I said, I mean, it should always be a bunch of options, and the option of mouse and keyboard should also be considered. That's the one that would probably require the least amount of work to get the VR edition working with mouse and keyboard. It's basically just porting stereoscopic VR to the desktop edition.
I'm quite surprised by the amount of confidence the industry is placing into this ship. She's not even certified yet, and her first ticketed voyage is just a week from now. No room for failure on these trials, I suppose. It's like getting dressed up for a date when you haven't even begun your courtship yet. How do you know if you'll be rejected or not? I learned that one the hard way.
Oh, that's poor guy. R.I.P. the dream. Rip the dream. So I'm walking through. I don't know if this is a cornfield or a lettuce field or a carrot field. I don't know what kind of field I'm walking through. I'm walking through a field. And there are train cargoes. Let's go check them out.
Belfast Lough is beautiful, with the hills around it and the morning fog. It reminds me of what I always imagined Puget Sound would be like. A man sure can make a living out in Seattle, if he can hold off the plague.
Oh God. 1912. Remember it like if it was yesterday. What great times. The fucking plague. Who wants a good dose of the plague? So happy to be living in modern times, tell you honestly. Also, this thing's gonna sink. By the way, just spoiler warning, it doesn't happen in the demo. Another spoiler warning, I'm sorry, they didn't put any sinking yet. I do believe they plan to reserve the sinking for the day they start selling the full version of this thing, which I will buy. When it comes out, I am totally getting into this. Because I want to experience the sinking. That is the thing I want to see the most. But already just getting that little taste through this experience.
They're doing
really
all they
cool.
can to extend my travel time. How do I find my way through this mess?
Oh yeah, they actually put some video game obstacles here. Just check this out. Yeah, the place you're supposed to board is somewhere else. But I'm going to show you what happens here. It's actually really interesting. You can walk around. You can go see all the pieces there, the little hangars. But I'm just going to actually take you around here. This is another thing that annoys me about teleport. Is the rotation's always not facing the way you want it. And I have, 270 degrees of worthy tracking space. Not quite 360. And I like to be able to face in the optimal direction. So what I have to do with the Oculus thing is I sort of have to hold my thumbstick to move my rotation, and sometimes it doesn't even work. So not optimal with the motion controllers because of this teleport only thing. Hopefully we get free rotation and free movement somewhere while they're still in demo phase. I would love to see that so that I can actually really just freely roam about.
They couldn't simply move these signs out of the way. This vessel has triple screws. Yes, I feel the same way right now too, thank you.
I got triple screwed. And one thing I like about having a wire on a headset is it works like my compass. I know which direction my trackers are in thanks to said wire. Yeah, I know it's weird, but it is true. So let's see if this is... Yeah, there we go. That worked. So that's one of the downsides is I have to press A and with my other hand move the thumbstick. I wonder if it works on my left thumbstick. It does not. So I press A and then I move the arrow to change my rotation. It doesn't always work, but at least sometimes it does, and it does when I need it to. So good. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the secondary boarding ramp, which is actually where they want me to get into the ship from. I don't know if it's because we're still in demo phase and they don't want me on the deck. I do think that is the justification. So you can also rotate your head in the direction you want it to face when you let go of teleport.
Since the aft gangway is blocked, I'll board here through the first class.
Here, I'll do one of these. So it doesn't always work. It only works when it wants to. Sometimes it just doesn't even rotate. Wow. Let's get onto a small little boat here. I'm going to give you a word of warning. You have to be super careful with the way you teleport. And I'm going to show you why. When you don't see the circle and arrow, it means it's sort of freaking out and wanting to take you to another floor. The developers actually warn about this in the instructions to make sure that you see the circle and arrow where you're intending on going. Otherwise, you actually done it wrong, and you want to make sure that you move it around until you see that circle and arrow. So that's an important note right there. Now, I got my attire on. Nobody's going to know that I'm a total lower deck pleb, and I do believe I'll be able to go through most of this boat without being asked to show my first class ticket or anything like that. I do declare, sir. Good afternoon to you. Alright, here we go. And the ship loads. What an absolute beauty. I remember the art style from the first demo I saw. You can't... Wow. Wow. I can actually see outside. That is very, very cool. So the first demo I tried, there was no actual outside that existed. I noticed when the scenes are done loading, there's a little hitch, but it will go away. Like right now, it didn't go nuts on me again. I remember standing near those types of doors and wondering if there was going to be an outside at some point. I think they had done a sort of night environment in the first demo. These elevators and this floor, this is absolutely magnificent. Let's go on the other side of these elevators to see this little... I guess this is a dining room. It's absolutely gorgeous. It continues all the way through the other end there. You have these sort of weird windows there. It almost looks like a cross between a fancy restaurant and a freaking church. It's absolutely impressive. And then you have these fancy doors with the brass-plated handles on them. And of course, this absolutely breathtaking staircase, which I remember from the first demo I tried. So I actually try to go upstairs first because I think we won't have too much to look at upstairs. They have added a lot of content, but not an insane amount of it. So you can take a look through these little windows. Let's see if I can't teleport. Ah! What the fuck was that? Fuck you! That was a fucking Easter egg. That did not happen during my test. You fucking jump scared me, you fucking bastards. That is cool. That is cool. Developers, I like the way you think. It's a passenger inquiry desk.
Soon this area will be bustling with passengers anxiously sending telegrams and complaining about the most trivial of matters. I consider it a blessing that I will not be around to witness that.
I do declare, sir... Okay, I'm out of here. I'm so out of here. I apologize for the horrific reproduction of an accent. That's not even a British accent. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. That is cool. I can't get in there, but I can see it from the edge. I know that there's some rooms I'll be able to enter upstairs. I'll have some comments about those, actually, because I've seen them already. I'll try to go slowly here so I don't miss out on too much. But it really does look like they're getting all these rooms ready to work to a good degree. Like, you'll be able to actually enter these. I want to be really careful in these narrow hallways because that is where the teleport thing is most likely to let you down. So I'm gonna make sure I'm very... Like, you might have seen it. It wanted to send me to a lower deck right there. There we go. That's... It just happened. Wow. Okay, that's a dining room. Holy shit. Wow. Oh, I have not been in this room yet. I think that's on the other side of those doors, right? So I did most definitely go down one floor. And now I have to... This is what I don't like about teleport. Whenever there's an object, some developers decide to actually put colliders on them. And then you end up not being able to go in certain areas. Because, like, look, there's a table. I can very well go there, but because of the table there... These, tabletops are looking incredibly real. The dishes, the utensils, everything, the reflections on them. This is absolutely incredible. I had not seen this room. Probably a good thing that bug took place.
I especially commend them for modifying the bulkhead. I never cared much for what was on the Olympic.
Oh. But I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, the Olympic also sank. This entire series of boats went down. Alright, so let's try to do this again without using the elevator, quote unquote. I make sure that my circle is there, circle is there, circle is there, circle is there. I want to go upstairs. I forget if it was here that I was able to do it. Yep, that's it. B deck. Wow. Go explore the B deck. Oh, this is actually, I didn't know I could come here. All the rooms that have windows on the side or that are actually outside so far I've not been able to access. I thought it was a limitation of being able to see outside, but no. This is actually, wow. This is really cool. The scenery outside is kind of simplistic, but I don't really mind that. It's enough to immerse
Though
you.
accepting the smell of overflowing sewage.
Ew.
Wonderful memories are coming back to me of that city.
Ew. 1912. Remember it like it was yesterday. Overflowing sewage. The smell of my childhood. That's not good, dude. Overflowing sewage?
Love
Man.
the wood detailing here.
Wow.
It's absolutely perplexing.
This
now
fucking
that's
staircase.
a craft I can really respect. Lovely wood. I've always been
Bullets.
fond of wood. When younger, I used to cut wood for the poor folks 2 streets over. My neighbors started calling me Robin Wood. They always laughed, but I don't know why. I wore that title proudly.
This voiceover. It's good. You guys did your homework. All right, so this is actually the area where I can enter a deck. If I had tried from the other staircase, I would not have been allowed to do it. So let's go check this out. See, this is one of the areas where I cannot, most definitely not enter because it's literally mid-outside, mid-inside, right? There's an actual opening on the side. But I can take a good look and see the lawn chairs and the shore, which is really, really cool. Because you guys
What a
gonna have...
fine accommodation for the unwinding of the gentlemanly sort after a long day at sea. If only it were open now, and there were men in there to socialize with. Perhaps then I'd make some friends.
No, fuck this. I'm going to the bridge, I'm starting the ship, and I'm leaving with it. How about that? I mean, there's nobody in here. I'm stealing the Titanic. Fuck it. GTA style. Absolutely breathtaking sceneries here. I do feel like they've paid really serious attention to all of this, to all the little details on the ship, the wood, the chairs, the fabrics, the dining room, the murals, the top of the staircase is just amazing, and it looks authentic, it looks real. So this is one of the rooms that I discovered you could actually explore. And the beef that I have with it is, and these guys are doing a lot of work here, I'm a bit worried. This is the only time I actually got worried. I'm not worried about the motion controls, I'm not worried about the teleportation issue. I'm worried about the scale of these beds. Is this how small beds were on the Titanic? Because I can barely lay down on one of these without my feet going over the edge. And the width of my body, I'm not a big guy, I'm actually a really small guy, barely fits this bed. So, Eincrow, if you're watching this, your freaking knees are against the railing if your head is on those pillows. I mean, the guy's tall, he would not fit in a bed like this. So I don't know. I mean... I hope that maybe, I don't know, the Titanic had unusually small beds and that it's not a mistake of scale. Because here's the problem. The world scale, the height of the windows, the height of the hallways, even their width, because I know on a boat everything's cramped, right? The height of this mirror, the width of the sink, everything looks correct. But the bed is too small. So I hope they didn't model the beds too small, because that would be a pretty big mistake to have to recover from, should they choose to actually recover from it. Yeah, those beds are tiny. So I don't know if that was a Titanic thing, but I would be complaining to the crew if those were the beds I had to sleep in, and I'm not even a big guy. Alright, so the issue happened again. I'm trying to go. I do believe the other room I can visit is actually in here. I'm going
I
to
see
be very
Tommy
gentle.
Andrews is already on board. Why does this surprise me? His drawings are scattered about like toys in a nursery. Well, I shouldn't intrude here any longer.
Oh yeah, you bet I will. Is he still building the boat with these tools? Couldn't you repair the sinking with this? This is actually really cool. Look, I'm a vampire. And the windows, the way they have the sort of crushed ice effect on them, should I call it. The blur effect. It's actually really impressive. And the plans for the Titanic, really, really cool. I don't know if this is like the owner's room or something. The owner or the designer. Not sure who this was, but must be someone important. He's on A deck. Alright, let's take a walk down this way, where we get to see a little bit outside.
Cabins upon cabins upon cabins upon cabins upon cabins. I suppose this won't be open anytime soon. A shame. I would enjoy nothing more than a cup of tea and to sit with a book in the lounge and, well, lounge.
I do declare. I had to say that. Alright, I'm sure we're done with the A deck. Yep, we're gonna actually leave the A deck. We're actually gonna take a plunge right now. I don't want this video to be too long. This is just a demo, and like I said earlier, you can actually check this one out for yourselves. So it's not up to me to just dig and scrape through the entire thing. I want to leave some of it for you. But I do want to jump to a place that I saw during my test that really got me really, really impressed. So now I'm on E deck. E deck, if I'm not mistaken, was something like the third class area, but it was also a place for first class facilities. There are some things that are way too nice to be third class in here. So I'm starting to think that like it was half and half at this point of the boat. And here we go. I also believe that this is a staff area. This is not a place where you were meant to...
This is glorious. You can near well see half the length of the ship in this corridor.
That's half the length of the ship. That is fucked. I don't want to get on a ship like that. Oh no, actually, there we go. This
A stark
was for
contrast
passengers.
from the first-class accommodations, I should say, but still a major improvement from the other liners I've inspected. In all honesty, I envy these people in the lower class. The world is open to them. They move to America and build their future how they choose. They could be loggers, for example. But father wanted me to be a surveyor like he and his father. No logging for you, Robin. Now wash your ears.
Loving the VO. Alright, so this is the lower class dining room. This actually is incredible. Not because it's that beautiful. It's a lot more beautiful upstairs, but god fucking damn it, this looks real. Everything in here looks absolutely real. If you didn't know you were wearing a headset, you'd just think you may have a slight vision issue because you do slightly see the pixels in these VR headsets. But still, man, it'd be easy to convince you are in a real area just by talking to you. Now that they're not pixels. To just, you drank a little too much. This is where you actually are. Absolutely believable. A tall guy would probably hit his head on a lot of things in here. And I mean, based on the scale of the chairs themselves, it is not an issue with world scale. This place was low to begin with. But this is just absolutely looks incredible. And the artwork on the walls and the scuffed paint on the walls and everything, very, very, very impressive. Let's go take a look at that window. Holy sh! You want to feel cramped? This is cramped. This is really cramped. I keep repeating I'm a small guy here, but you gotta understand why I repeat it. Because it makes me feel cramped. I can imagine a bigger guy, someone twice my size, having a hard time actually even fitting in the corridors of this boat. And I'm also not tall. That window is too damn high. That is really, really impressive so far. I can see all the work that's been done over the 3 years I haven't tried this in. And I'm actually really encouraged. If they keep this up at this pace, we're going to get a really, really cool experience to try out. And when I say experience...
Oh dear, the door is open.
Oh.
Perhaps I'm not supposed to look in here, but I can't pass up this opportunity for a little adventure. Oh, if Claire were here now to see me being so daring.
Folks, this is the boiler room, which is... Call me a fucking nerd, but this is the part that impresses me the most about the entire demo. Yes, the dining rooms are absolutely beautiful. To see materials look that realistic is absolutely impressive. But goddammit, the boiler room of the Titanic! Yes, please!
Quite hot here. Where are the workers, though? Well, I suppose they're likely firing up the other boiler rooms.
They have excuses for everything in the voiceover. I fucking love it. Of course they're in the other room. No, there's nobody in here, and you're free to start these boilers up yourself and steal the Titanic. I do declare. Okay, I'm going... By the way, what I'm doing right now is I'm just...
These machines...
climbing all my way downstairs.
29 on board, propelling the ship through the water like an untamed beast. I anxiously await their performance during the sea trial shortly. Finally free and not held back from anything. No Mr. Tundry in sight. Just freedom.
I'm just managing the coals. Wow. This is absolutely imposing. These machines are so enormous. And even though none of this is real, it feels like it's going to eat me alive because it's so much fucking power, so much fucking heat. This thing is like, you can hardly believe that this was actually constructed by humans, or at least the real version of this was actually constructed by humans. Very, very impressive, very imposing design, and I really like it. I am not entirely sure if this is 110% as accurate as the real thing was, but if it is, I mean, this is the room I would have most wanted to see on this boat, because it's just so freaking imposing. And you have all the exhaust manifold connecting up there. I'm assuming that these things are what actually shot smoke out of the chimneys, because they're actually burning coal in order to run boilers that actually create steam. But that's how the boat moved forward. You boil some water, run it through a turbine, and make the thing go forward. And I didn't realize I could go all the way this far back and above the boilers. Like, that is really impressive. That's, in my opinion, that was the most impressive room in the entire demo, because you get to see the inner workings of the Titanic. But right now, I want to be a nice passenger who's not going to steal the boat and get out of this area. We'll just head on this way so we can take a quick look. It's obvious that they've blocked it off for now.
This open space looks like a fine spot for gathering and mingling between all parts of Europe as they make their journey across the pond to the New World. Perhaps a place on the west coast, like Seattle.
This is so amazing. Alright, down to the F deck we go. We are deep inside the Titanic right now. And I'm actually going to be wrapping up my video here because there's a room in here that was actually something I checked out when I ran the first edition of this demo. And that would be the cooling room, which I thought was really impressive.
A nice Arabian motif with cooling colors as passengers relax after their time in the baths. But what a poor state these workers left it in.
Is that not impressive? All the fabrics and the tiles on the walls and these little intricate details. They really, really paid attention to. Please contribute to us at www.titanichg.com. Thank you for putting that on the mirror. I should actually mention it. These guys are funding this out of their own pockets. They are looking for actual serious investments, but for the most part, they are funding this out of their own pockets and out of contributions. So if you try out this demo and you're really interested, go ahead and contribute to this website, titanichg.com. Every freaking dollar is probably helping them at this point, because look at them, the amount of work they have to do to make this come together. And it's, in my opinion, it is moving interestingly quickly, but it could move even faster with a lot of
is that lucky dog testing out the electric bath? And I believe I see a sliver of the plunge bath as well.
Yep, I see a slither of the plunge bath. So they've actually added a lot of stuff in here for you to check out, including around the entire boat itself. Lots of impressive things. And I'm actually going to wrap it up here. I'm going to let you explore this thing for yourselves, because there are decks I've not been on yet that have even more stuff on them. There are rooms that I've not seen on the decks that I've been on. There's more voiceovers to listen to. And there are probably Easter eggs, like that little fucking jump scare up on A deck got me. So I spoiled that one for you, but I'm sure they put some other shit like that to spook the living shit out of you. And that really worked, you bastards. That actually really, really, really worked. So folks, this has been Stereo 3D Productions on the Titanic. Titanic Honor and Glory. Thanks for watching. And I do declare, I will see you next time.